Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
An all-time two-game pitching performance from the LA Dodgers has the Milwaukee Brewers in a 2-0 hole in the NLCS. As the series heads out to LA, can Milwaukee keep things afloat? The Buffalo Bills are in trouble.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
After Blake Snell completely shut down the best team in baseball in Game 1 of the NLCS, Yoshinobu Yamamoto went complete game, only allowing the one run off a Jackson Chourio leadoff home run on the first pitch of the game. The Dodgers end up taking down the Milwaukee Brewers 5-1 and now hold a commanding 2-1 series or 2-0 series leads, as we head back to LA. Brandon Snide from our Locked On Brewers postcast joins me now. And Brandon, both of these championship series, 2 games to nothing in favor of the road team, and the Brewers just looked outmatched through 2 games in this one.
They certainly have, Peter. And I'm curious when the last time that has happened in a championship series where both of the road teams went up 2-0. I said this on my show after Game 1's loss, that Game 2 with the Brewers ace on the mound, Freddie Peralta, was without question had to be a must win. You had to get one at American Family Field. The Brewers got off to the exact start that they needed to. Jackson Chourio, as you mentioned, getting the crowd into it. That was after Freddie Peralta shut down the Dodgers, striking out a few of their batters at the beginning of the game, and the crowd was into it. But what the Dodgers did, Peter, was what the Brewers have done to so many teams. They responded right away after that Jackson Chourio home run. Teoscar Hernandez in the top half of the second inning going off for a home run, and that took the crowd right out of the game. Yeah. And Yamamoto settled in. And what's funny about this matchup, Peter, was you got to just rewind not too far back to July 7th. This Brewers team chased him in the shortest start of his career. Yeah. They won that game 9-1. They had 5 runs in the first inning against this same pitcher. And today he absolutely dominated the Milwaukee Brewers. You mentioned Blake Snell, 17 now combined innings between those 2 pitchers against this Brewers team. They've scored 2 runs over 17 innings. You're not going to stand a chance against anybody with numbers like that.
Yeah, Kurt Hogg from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel had this great note. In 283 games previous, before the NLCS, only twice did an opposing starter get through 8 innings. It's now happened through each game of this National League Championship Series. Where have the bats gone for the Milwaukee Brewers?
It's the approach, Peter. It's the approach. I put it out on Twitter, too. I don't understand. They talked about getting to that Dodgers bullpen. If there's a weak link with that gauntlet of a roster that is the LA Dodgers, it's their bullpen. And for the Brewers, it was a perfect start, right? First pitch, first swing, home run for Jackson Chourio. After that, Yamamoto needed 22 pitches to get through the next 6 batters. I mean, that is unlike the approach that we've seen from the Milwaukee Brewers, where they're a little bit overly aggressive. I understand wanting to put the pitcher on their heels a little bit, get some guys on base. Even the guys that were on base today, we didn't see any attempts at stealing bases. Yamamoto is very slow with his delivery to home plate. They weren't aggressive on the bases when they had them on base, but their approach, I thought, was very odd for a team, again, that wanted to drive that pitch count up. It was over aggressive early in counts, and before you know it, you blink and it's an 0-2 count, and then they're watching pitch number 3 go right down the middle for a strike because they swung at 2 pitches out of the zone. So the approach for me was really bad. But then you don't have to look any further than the middle of the order, Peter. 0 for 12 with your 3, 4, and 5 combined hitters this evening for the Milwaukee Brewers. Andrew Vaughn, Christian Yelich, and William Contreras, absolutely no shows in a must-win game for the Brewers. Your best hitters go 0 for 12. You're not going to, again, you mentioned not getting any hits over 17 innings against the last 2 pitchers. When your media order doesn't have a hit in this game, you don't stand a chance.
How much of this do you think was a reaction to what we saw in Game 1, where you mentioned this was one of the most patient hitting ball clubs in Major League Baseball, and Blake Snell just poured in strikes all night. It didn't matter that they were patient because Snell just was painting the corners, had them off balance all night. It felt like early on they were like, okay, if this is going to be the Dodgers approach, if they're going to throw us strikes, we have to swing at them. And it got them out of their approach. Do you think that could be what happened here?
I think they're feeling the pressure of having to win. You can't lose 2 games at home. And then now because of the 2-3-2 series, now you have to win 2 out of 3 in LA. And I think that was in the back of their minds, right? This is still a very young.
That format?
I do actually like it. I do like it. I know a lot of people don't. I know there's a lot of people complaining about it now because it doesn't favor the Brewers, but I do actually like it. I like that if you can get that series, to game 6 and be able to close it out, and you have 2 chances at home to close it out. I think any team that has home field advantage would certainly be for that. But I think to your earlier question, I think they felt the pressure of having to get this crowd into it early, get it established, get Freddie Peralta some run support, because we know Freddie's, going to give up the long ball. It's what he did right away in the second inning to Teoscar Hernandez. And I think the hitters at the plate were feeling the pressure of we got to protect American Family Field some way, right? The Dodgers already achieved what they wanted to do, right? They needed to get one at American Family Field, and they can close it out in front of their home crowd out there in Los Angeles. I think the Brewers today felt the pressure of having to win, and it showed by their approach at the plate.
Stay up to date all year on the Milwaukee Brewers by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Brewers on your favorite podcast app. Your Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, we get the Dodgers side of Game 2. Before we get to that, the Mavs are extending Jason Kidd. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for the weekend with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however I want to bet in the moment. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It's quick, it's easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sunday. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. The Dallas Mavericks are extending head coach Jason Kidd.
This is what we all thought would happen. Remember the drama in the offseason when the Mavericks and Jason Kidd and the Knicks, there was all this like, will they, won't they? Will the Knicks go after Jason Kidd? Will they, won't go after Jason Kidd? All these rumors and all these different things that were said about Jason Kidd and the Knicks job. Remember the Knicks were asking like every coach under the sun to come coach them, and they all basically said no to them, so they had to go back to Mike Brown, who wasn't really coaching. This is what it was all coming down to for Jason Kidd. He wanted a contract extension with the Mavericks. His deal was going to be up, and the Mavs knew this. Everybody knew this. This is what was going to happen all along through all of this. And so Jason Kidd gets his contract extension, and what it means for the Mavericks now is that a coach that has gotten you to the Western Conference Finals twice, the NBA Finals one of those times, and the Mavs have only been to multiple Western Conference Finals with one coach, and it was Jason Kidd. He has been a successful coach for the Dallas Mavericks. He's been able to work with different personalities. He's been able to work with Luka, with Anthony Davis, with Kyrie Irving. He's been able to work with younger players, develop some younger players. Derek Lively was a rookie that was starting in the NBA Finals, which is absolutely massive. And so Jason Kidd, I think, has been a solid coach for the Dallas Mavericks. I think this is a good move for the Mavericks to keep him around. There's a lot of questions and wondering about what this means for his relationship with Nico Harrison at this point. And at least from the outside, it looks like that Nico Harrison is fine with having Jason Kidd around, signing him to an extension. Although I will throw this one wrench in there. NBA coach contracts don't really mean that much in the NBA, except for the Kidd is going to get his money, because we've seen coaches leave. We've seen NBA teams like fire coaches with 5 years left on their contract. Like, it is just like college football, where these contracts don't really matter as much. But the Mavs make an investment in Jason Kidd. They commit to him for at least the long term, for what they think is long term, until something happens. But Jason Kidd's going to continue to be the coach of the Dallas Mavericks.
The Ravens released defensive back C.J. Gardner-Johnson a week after signing him.
Well, that was fast. I'm Kevin Ostreicher, the host of Locked On Ravens. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson lasted 1 week as a member of the Ravens, as he has been released from Baltimore's practice squad, according to Adam Schefter. And in Schefter's tweet, he noted that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's agent said that GJ is looking for more of an opportunity for playing time. Now, the order of operations for the Ravens, they signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to their practice squad, and then after that, they traded Odafe Oweh for Alohi Gilman, another safety. And so that maybe changed the course of what Gardner-Johnson was looking for and the playing time that Gardner-Johnson was going to get. Gilman played a big role for the Ravens in week number 6 against the Rams, and there probably wasn't as much playing time as Gardner-Johnson initially thought in Baltimore. So this officially ends after just 1 week, and now the Ravens will have another spot on the practice squad to fill, as they also probably need to go and make other moves. So for more on the Ravens and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, be sure to check out the Locked On Ravens podcast and subscribe on YouTube, part of Locked On Podcast Network.
And despite having fired their coach, the Titans are remaining optimistic, especially when it comes to their rookie QB.
The most important thing that Mike McCoy needs to change, and the most important thing that he needs to do right now, is be a leader. And in Mike McCoy's press conference on Tuesday, that is something that he talked about. He said that I am a leader. That's my favorite thing to do, is to come in, lead the players, lead the coaching staff. That is what I enjoy doing, is being a leader. And that is the number one thing that the Tennessee Titans need right now. They need an adult in the room who's led an NFL franchise before. And when we talk about the best head coaching candidates for the Tennessee Titans and the pros and the cons, that is going to be something that I heavily value for this team. Look, Mike McCoy, not an exciting name. He's had his own failures in his past with the San Diego Chargers, obviously was with Jacksonville last year before they moved on and got a new head coach as well. It's not all great on Mike McCoy's resume, but there's a lot of good on Mike McCoy's resume as well.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto and the LA Dodgers went to work in Game 2 of the NLCS. Locked On Dodgers postcast host Pete Fox detailed the action in Milwaukee and looked ahead to the series as it moves out west.
For those of you that wanted to argue with me last night as to, enough of this effing talk about the bullpen, I guarantee you, if the Dodgers, specifically Dave Roberts, would have left Blake Snell in there, that's exactly what would have happened last night. It would have been like lickety split, quick, fast, and in a hurry, stress-free, game over. Now, nothing against Roki Sasaki. As I said, there is probably something positive that came out of that for Roki. I'm sure there is no way that he didn't gain something from that. Like, he didn't get some experience out of it. He's a rookie in the major leagues. He's young. He has never been in that situation before. He's not a closer. Well, he is now, but he's never been one. So look, in the end, they won. Okay. It is my job and your job to question that move. Okay. They did it again tonight. And one of the things you have to give Dave Roberts credit for is kind of learning from his mistakes, right? It was a night last night where a couple of mistakes potentially were made. One of definitely made by Teoscar Hernandez, who owned up to it. Give that dude some credit. He said, I effed up. There's not much to say. Made a mistake. You know, Dino Abel told me to go. I made a mistake. I missed it. I screwed up, you know? So that's all you can ask for. Then tonight, he's like, well, last night we got away with it. Tonight, though, let's see what happens here. Roki came out and just mowed them down. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night in the ninth inning. A complete game. As Brian Anderson said, that is like the dodo bird, a very rare bird. You don't see complete games in baseball hardly at all, especially not in the postseason. The last time the Dodgers had one, 2004. So it has been a minute. Kike Hernandez. No, he's hot again, still hot. Just stroking the ball all over the yard. 2 hits, 2 runs scored, walked once, so on base 3 times. Dude is just all about October. His OPS in the high 9s, but tonight's player of the game. I mean, do we even need to say it? Roki Sasaki. Roki Sasaki. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. 9 complete innings. He gave up a homer on the first pitch of the game and then settled down like immediately. And then the Dodgers got his back in the second inning. Took a 2-1 lead. Teoscar Hernandez tied the game on a home run in the second. And then Andy Pages, who is as cold as your ice cubes in your freezer with a batting average of 37, boosted it up to 69 tonight, got his slug over 100, just barely at 103. doubles down the line to right to score who else but Kike to make it 2-1. And then there wasn't a whole lot of anything until the 6th.
Stay up to date all year on the LA Dodgers by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Dodgers on your favorite podcast app. Coming up, the Buffalo Bills are in trouble. The Bills took their second straight L of the season Monday night after Josh Allen and the offense were shut down by the Falcons. Locked On NFL host Tyler Rowland and Spencer German believe that the Bills' lack of star power is holding them back from being a more complete contender.
One of the things that I'll continue to bring up with the Bills that leaves me, I guess, uneasy about them going forward is the exact opposite of what we saw with the Falcons. They don't have the big-time stars on offense to make big-time plays. Keon Coleman never has developed into the wide receiver that they expected him to be, while on the other side, and I know that Keon Coleman wasn't drafted as high as Drake London, but remember, the Bills traded out of the spot that gave Xavier Worthy to the Kansas City Chiefs, and Xavier Worthy is certainly a better player than Keon Coleman. And then you look, Drake London, 10 catches, 158 yards and a tutty. Bijan Robinson, over 230 total yards and a touchdown. Like, the Falcons have big-time offensive stars that make big plays in big moments, and the Bills simply don't. So that, I don't know if the Falcons, the defense is coming around. I don't know if you can trust them. They have a Jekyll and Hyde quality to them where I can't really look at the Falcons and say, I can say great win, but I don't know that I trust the Falcons to be a contender in the NFC. But I look at Buffalo and it's like everything that Atlanta has on offense is what the Bills don't have. And I know they did that purposefully when they got rid of Stephon Diggs. But at the end of the day, in big clutch moments, you need big clutch players and superstars to make those plays. I will always believe in that. And the Bills simply don't have it, and they put too much on Josh Allen.
I don't buy this. Look at the Chiefs. They don't need stars. They just need competent players. They've been asking for replacement level NFL receivers, and Patrick Mahomes can make that work. They don't need stars. They need some more competent defenders. Their safety play is horrendous. They might not have 3 replacement level receivers right now. And so the roster isn't good enough, not because they don't have the high end talent. They don't, but that's not why they're not good enough. They didn't have the high end talent last year either. They just had more solid players, fewer bad players. Most systems in the NFL and in football in general are about how bad your bad players are, your worst players, not how good your best players are, except at quarterback. Josh Allen is the force multiplier. He is the floor raiser and the ceiling raiser, and he's one of the 2 or 3 best players in the NFL, period. One of the most impactful players we have. But it's true. He can only do so much when your safeties can't be in the right spots or can't make tackles, or your receivers can't even think about getting open. These are problems that they've tried to fix and have not been able to fix. They don't need more stars. They don't need more high-end talent. They need more competent football players. Every team in the league could use more of those. The Bills are no exception. And finally, while the Dodgers are trying to exercise the Brewers in the NLCS, Teoscar Hernandez is trying to avoid actual ghosts. Hernandez's wife reportedly refused to stay at Milwaukee's Pfister Hotel, the same haunted spot Mookie Betts has been trying to avoid for years. So the couple is bunking elsewhere during the series. Other players and their wives claim that strange things have been happening. Lights flickering, doors creaking, footsteps in the middle of the night. Whether it's actually Nosferatu flickering the lights or just normal happenings in downtown Milwaukee, the hotel seems to be giving the Dodgers a scare more than the Brewers, unfortunately, right now. And true story, the wedding block for me and my wife was at the Pfister Hotel. It's a beautiful hotel. Didn't hear any ghosts, though. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, do the Mariners push the Blue Jays to the brink of elimination? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on Sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.